Personal log. Dark Knight's food reviews. Gotham City is unusually quiet tonight. The rain drizzles softly against the rooftops, and the usual cacophony of sirens and distant shouts has been reduced to a murmur. Even the shadows seem to be resting. Alfred, ever the guardian of my well-being, suggested that I take this rare moment of calm to explore the more mundane pleasures of life. He handed me a takeout bag from Dairy Queen with a slight smirk. Inside was their wild Alaskan fish sandwich. I raised an eyebrow. "Expanding your culinary horizons could do you some good, Master Bruce," he said. Perhaps he's right. After all, even a vigilante needs to eat, and maybe there's something to be said for stepping outside of my usual regimen of protein bars and black coffee. I decided to give it a try. Sitting in the Batcave, surrounded by the hum of the Bat computer and the soft glow of monitors displaying Gotham's streets, I unwrapped the sandwich. The aroma was interesting, a mix of fried batter and a hint of the sea. It reminded me, oddly enough, of that time the Penguin tried to commandeer a fleet of robotic penguins armed with torpedoes. The smell of fish brings back strange memories in this line of work. The sandwich itself was sizable. The bun was soft to the touch, lightly toasted, and sprinkled with sesame seeds. Inside, a golden brown fish fillet peeked out, accompanied by crisp lettuce and a dollop of tartar sauce. It actually looked promising. I took the first bite. The crunch of the batter was satisfying, giving way to the flaky white fish inside. The Alaskan pollock was mild, almost too mild. It lacked the robustness one might expect from something dubbed wild Alaskan. It was more like mild Alaskan. The tartar sauce added a tangy note, but it was overpowered by an unexpected sweetness in the bun. It was as if the components were at odds with each other, much like Two-Face debating his next move. The lettuce provided a fresh crunch, a welcome texture, but didn't contribute much in terms of flavor. It was there, doing its job quietly, much like Commissioner Gordon, reliable and steadfast, but not one to steal the spotlight. As I continued eating, I noticed that the sandwich was greasier than anticipated. The oil from the fried batter began to seep into the bun, making it soggy. It reminded me of Clayface, solid on the outside but quickly turning into a messy situation if you're not careful. Midway through, I found myself contemplating the tartar sauce. There was too much of it, and it overwhelmed the delicate flavor of the fish. It was like the Riddler adding one too many twists to his puzzles, unnecessary and ultimately detracting from the experience. I couldn't help but think that perhaps the wild Alaskan fish sandwich suffers from an identity crisis. Is it trying to be a hearty seafood option or a fast food staple? In attempting to be both, it doesn't fully succeed at either. It's reminiscent of Catwoman walking the line between ally and adversary, intriguing but leaving you unsure where you stand. The bun, while soft, lacked substance. It didn't hold up well against the fillings, much like Gotham's criminal justice system struggling to contain the city's supervillains. By the last few bites, the sandwich was falling apart, and I found myself reaching for a napkin to clean up the remnants. Alfred would undoubtedly have a word about manners and tidiness. On the positive side, the sandwich was filling. It provided a temporary respite from the demands of the night. But was it satisfying? Not particularly. It lacked the depth and complexity I might find in one of Alfred's home-cooked meals, or even in a well-made batsuit upgrade from Lucius Fox. Perhaps Dairy Queen should stick to what they do best: ice cream and soft serve. Their blizzards have brought joy to many, much like the rare moments of peace in Gotham when families can enjoy a night out without fear. Venturing into the realm of seafood might be a step too far, like the Penguin attempting to wield a flamethrower, out of character and potentially disastrous. Reflecting on the experience, I realized that sometimes it's important to stay true to one's strengths. Just as I rely on my skills and training rather than superpowers, perhaps restaurants should focus on perfecting their specialties. In the end, the wild Alaskan fish sandwich was a reminder that not every risk yields a reward. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't memorable either. It was a meal that filled a void, but didn't leave a lasting impression. much like the lesser-known criminals I encounter, adequate in their efforts, but lacking the impact to stand out in a city teeming with larger-than-life personas. As I wrapped up the meal, an alert flashed on the Bat computer's screen. A silent alarm had been tripped at the Gotham City Museum. It seems that even on quiet nights, duty calls. Before heading out, I made a mental note to perhaps stick to familiar favorites when it comes to fast food. Or better yet, rely on Alfred's exceptional culinary skills. After all, his smoked salmon and dill sandwiches are unparalleled and don't leave me pondering existential questions about fish and identity. In conclusion, Dairy Queen's Wild Alaskan Fish Sandwich is a modest attempt at a seafood offering but falls short in execution. It may suffice for a quick meal, but for those seeking something more substantial or satisfying, there are better options available. Time to suit up and return to the shadows. The city waits, and there are whispers that Catwoman might be involved in tonight's intrigue. Perhaps I'll cross paths with her atop the museum's marble arches. At least that encounter is bound to be more stimulating than this sandwich. End of log.